Southern Tarrant County lightning hit a home. Want to show you this house. It burned to the ground because firefighters couldn't get the water they really needed. Our Jason Allen live in Rendon with the problems firefighters faced.
Well, there is not a lot left of this home other than over my shoulder. You can kind of see one of the walls and a piece of the second story that's still standing. But this is a rural area. Firefighters are used to bringing their own water to calls like this. When this fire really started racing, they thought they'd lucked out because there happens to be a fire hydrant right here. That is until they tried to hook up and actually get water out of it. After lightning hit the peak of this two-story home, fire raced through the attic. Firefighters realized the 3,000 gallons of water they brought with them wasn't enough. So they turned to the closest hydrant and got almost nothing. The pressure was less than 10 psi, not nearly enough to stop the fire.
With all this hose, what we tried to do was set up a fire truck there and actually boost the pressure. But if there wasn't even enough water, we would have actually pulled the hydrant out of the ground.
Firefighters were left in a situation where rain was dumping water everywhere, but they didn't have enough to fill up their hose. They eventually sent a tanker to another hydrant out on the highway, shuttling water back to engines at the scene.
This is not the time when we need to determine whether or not that water supply is good or not.
Texas Health and Safety Code set a standard for hydrants to provide a minimum of 250 gallons of water per minute for 2 hours. And they're supposed to have at least 20 pounds of pressure per square inch, double what firefighters said this one had. This hydrant's part of the Bethesda Water Supply Corporation, where a supervisor said part of the problem is water mains installed by developers years ago are just half the size of standard lines today. The hydrants are probably used more for flushing lines than firefighting, he said.
And this is a rural area, so that's unfortunately an inherent issue that we have responding out into these areas, is that usually the water supply becomes an issue, and that's why we do have a tanker.
So Bethesda told me they do check these fire hydrants. They have a work order out right now for this one, but they expect that it's probably going to be okay. And those minimum firefighting standards, they do try to meet those, but they do not actually have an official contract that says they have to. Live today in Rendon, Jason Allen, CBS 11 News.
All right, Jason.